All right, deep dives as we do every single week. Just something we want to discuss in the NFL world. And Leger, we'll kick it off with yours. What do you got?
Ooh, this is a real deep dive.
Yes.
We
should split up for this.
Unless you've been under a rock, right? You didn't see the hit from Al Shazier, who is the linebacker for the Houston Texans, on Trevor Lawrence. And I'm actually have Harry just play the clip for us real quick. This is the hit that's been talked about all this week, whether it's on social media, on different media shows. You're going to see number 0 in the middle right here. Trevor Lawrence breaks the pocket. And then right here, as he starts to slides late, Al Shazier takes a forearm and just literally destroys Trevor Lawrence right at his head. And you see Evan Ingram come in and protect his quarterback. Like,
can we get a freeze when the slide is? I struggle calling that a late slide. There's 5 yards in between when he starts his slide.
I'm glad.
And I know they're moving towards each other.
Exactly.
But
so Harry, rewind it real quick one more time for us.
Just get us back to
right here. So this is what, like 6-7 yards?
That's
10 yards.
Okay. All right, play it.
Defense.
He hasn't started though yet. Okay. He hasn't started.
He's starting to go down. That's a start.
Okay.
So we're over 5 yards
From
away.
a defensive perspective, within 7 yards, we need to know exactly what we're going to do. Like, again, this is slowed down, so it looks like, there's a lot of yardage. I don't think people realize how quick 5 yards happens in the NFL.
Yeah.
Like, guys like Al Shazier are running a 4.5.
Yeah.
So you know how much ground you cover in 5 yards?
And Trevor Lawrence isn't a slug either.
Exactly. And he's a bigger dude, too.
Yes.
He's like 6 foot, 4, 210
They're
pounds.
the same size.
Exactly. So it's just like, you got to think, Al Shazier's thinking he wants to pick up this first down. Now, again, this hit is egregious. Two things can be true. The hit is egregious, right? But also Trevor Lawrence slid late, right? He needed to be a more definitive slide, more decisive on this. And my deep dive is how quarterbacks have weaponized the sideline in late slides, right? I got a couple clips I want to go through, but just want to speak from a defensive perspective, right? And we know this, Kyle and Mike, when there's a rule and you can use it to your advantage,
you will.
Players do it. Like, let's just compare it to basketball.
Yep.
Remember when flopping was a fad in the NBA? And it still is, But to mitigate that, what did they start doing? They started finding NBA players for flopping.
Bad actors.
Bad acting, right? Mm-hmm. We've seen so many times where quarterbacks will muddle on the line of not going out of bounds just so they can jump out at the last second and get an extra free 15.
That guy at the bottom, Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, he's the king of it. Him and Josh Allen are kings at it, right? We've also seen guys, defenders thinking that they're going to go out of bounds and not want to get fined, and then the quarterback just keeps running.
Yep.
Right? We've seen it multiple times. So I think there needs to be an onus, not only on the defensive player, but the offensive player, for the players to protect themselves. I'm going to roll a couple of clips. First, we're going to start with Caleb Williams. Just last week on Thanksgiving versus the Detroit Lions, right? This is a hit. You'll see Jack Campbell, number 46. He's in the middle of your screen.
6'5", 250.
Exactly, running. Now watch. Caleb Williams, play action pass, doesn't like what he sees. He rolls out to his right? See where Jack Campbell's coming from now. Put it in perspective. Now, Caleb has more than enough room to go straight out of bounds, but you saw him actually slow down, acting like he was going to be like Lamar Jackson and cut it back.
Well, Caleb also notoriously not a good slider.
Yeah.
So he's not
just
a
run out of bounds then. Why are you trying to slide? Run
thinking about sliding.
Past the first down marker.
Run out of bounds. Why are you taking unnecessary hits? And then you had the nerve to say that was a low hit. He hit you in the thigh board. What was Jack Campbell supposed to do?
Yeah.
Like, we have a rule on defense. If it's wiggling inbounds, hit it. That's exactly. Matter of fact, you're about 3 yards away from the sideline.
Yep.
How can you get mad at Jack Campbell for hitting you right there? My thing is, be definitive, be decisive. Get your butt out of bounds if you don't want to get it. There was nothing wrong with this play from Jack Campbell.
And the St. Brown podcast with Amon-Ra and his brothers, they were talking about the things that Dan Campbell was emphasizing prior to this game, and this was one of them. He said, this guy, Caleb Williams, is really good at trying to influence guys to not hit him on the sideline, and he'll get more yards. We've seen it with Mahomes. We saw it on that big play 3 weeks ago with Mahomes.
Harry, go ahead and roll that beautiful footage.
But pretty much they're told, to your point, hit him.
Yeah.
Hit that guy.
So this is 2-minute drill. They need a field goal to win this game, right? Mahomes always does this at the end of the game. He rolls out. I want you to see number 23. Watch how he slows down. And then number 8 right there, too. And then look right here. Mahomes still could have went out of bounds. He didn't. And the ball gets punched out of his hands. Now, there would have been an uproar if that safety came down and knocked the living crap out of Mahomes. But he had an opportunity to get out of bounds. They were already in field goal range to win the football game. So people can say what they want about defenders, but like they have a job to do, and it's already hard when all the rules are against them. In that case right there, Mahomes had more space than anything to get out of bounds. He decided not to. The ball got punched out of his hands inbounds, but everybody would have been in an uproar if that dude would have laid into Mahomes on the sideline.
Especially when you're tiptoeing the sideline like that.
Correct.
You know what you're doing. You know that as soon as, like, even if you get hit inbounds there, even if you haven't stepped out of bounds, there's a good chance they're going to throw the flag if you get really popped on a play like that. So you know that you're protected basically by the flags. I do think there should be some way to make it so that quarterbacks aren't having to go to the ground and expose their head. Because when you slide, your head is the thing that gets in the way of where you were going to hit a guy hip.
Helmet ground.
Your helmet immediately becomes where your hips used to be, where they were going to hit them.
Yeah.
So like you immediately expose the worst part. That was it. I floated out mid-play spike. If you spike it like an intentional,
what happens if they fumble it on
that's obviously a chance, but a mid-play spike being because you protect yourself, you have the ability.
I'm throwing it forward.
If you're past the line of scrimmage, if you're a quarterback past the line of scrimmage, you can spike it to protect yourself. Obviously, we have all these rules that protect quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I think it's something that just, if you don't feel comfortable sliding, because not everyone does. Bryce Young's not a good slider. Caleb Williams not a good slider.
You gotta work on that craft.
It is.
Remember gym class? We'd play that game where you got to get from one side of the gym to the other, and there's safe areas, and you can't be tagged.
For sure.
And that's like the one kid that hangs out on the edge of the safe area. I'm like, you're not allowed to play this game with us. You're not even playing the game.
Not playing it right.
And you know what? Mahomes did the fake slide. It might be in here. The fake slide.
I almost didn't.
So the most egregious one is the I'm going to slide. No, I'm not going to slide. And somebody runs right by you. And then their palms up like, what am I supposed to do?
Exactly.
We're at a real crossroads in our game as it pertains to what to do about the quarterback tackling rules, particularly on the sideline with the protection of the quarterback on the slides. To your point, you're a defensive player. I understand where you're coming from. There's a lot of gray area there.
Yeah.
We had Matt Ryan, an MVP quarterback in here last week, say, we should smash quarterbacks that are doing this. What's the worst that's going to happen? What's the worst that happens? It's a 15-yard penalty and a fine. But that's okay.
But they'll never do it again.
Yep.
They'll never do it again.
100%.
And to that point, right, even the GOAT, and we have this clip too, Tom Brady was saying there needs to be something or some onus on quarterbacks, whether it's a fine if you fake slide. We saw Kenny Pickett do that in college and score on like a 60-yard touchdown run. Whether you tiptoe the sideline and get a late 15-yard, like there needs to be some onus. And I'll have Harry play this last clip of Tom Brady explaining, how this onus should be on quarterbacks as well.
Penalize a quarterback for sliding late, and say, look, if we don't want these hits to take place, we've got to penalize the offense and the defense rather than just penalize a defensive player for every single play that happens when there's a hit on a quarterback.
Yeah, and that's from the GOAT, right? He's a guy that played at the highest level, is known as the GOAT. And if he's saying, like, there should be some onus on quarterbacks when they get outside the pocket, right, in regards to not only them being protective of themselves, but also protecting the defensive player as well. The onus shouldn't only fall on the defensive player, right? You have to be cognizant of where you're at because guys move so fast in the NFL. If a guy is 5-6 yards away from you, like, again, we talked about it earlier, like that's a split-second decision. Now, egregious what El Shire did with his forearm, right? I don't condone that.
With the brace.
Exactly.
By the way, which is a weapon.
I don't condone that.
We all know that.
In regards to him being all in on that play, when Trevor Lawrence decided to slide late, I have no issue with it. He should have just jumped over him.
Well, I think the reason we're having this conversation and why it's so important now is because guys like Brady aren't in the league anymore. Guys like Phillip Rivers, guys like Ben Roethlisberger, who, of course, they were going to protect themselves. That wasn't a part of their game to threaten with the run. They were guys who were going to protect themselves at all costs. Now you have pretty much every quarterback entering the league. Athleticism is a part of their game in some way, shape, or form. So every team has this. It has multiple times a game where you're getting in these situations. So it's even more important for the NFL to get clarity and to basically make sure that what we saw in Trevor Lawrence is just there's no situation where that's even coming up, right? Or we can get that out of the game, whether it's, hey, quarterbacks, you're only protected if you are, X amount of yards away from a defender, or we add the spike mid-play, or we tell defenders that As soon as a quarterback slows down the open field, it's over. Like that play.
But that's so hard.
Like, it's tough, but like it's just something
that's
where
guys slow down to cut back.
Where it's unfortunate where we've legislated to a point where defenders have to be scared, like terrified of doing anything to a quarterback in the open field,
should be.
where they have all the power then as a quarterback, and we see them weaponize it.
Azeez Al-Shaair hit Caleb Williams out of bounds in the Texans-Bears game. Mm-hmm. He got up in a crowd of orange jerseys and punched Roshan Johnson in the face.
He did.
And my biggest gripe was, if I know that guys have a job to do on defense, but my job as an offensive lineman is to make sure that you and your buddies
protect your quarterback for sure.
Are looking over your shoulder a little bit when you're going to do that. And I think that my biggest disappointment is that these defensive players that are hitting these guys, whether legally or illegally, need to be punished. I think street justice needs to be a thing.
Between the white lines.
I'm serious. Like I'll pay the fine. And if I don't, my quarterback will pay the fine for me. Yeah. Same thing on defense. If you go make that hit on the sideline and indicate to them that stuff's not going to fly versus us, then the people you should have like a little nest egg of 11 starters should put together $11,000 to cover your fine.
Case in point, I don't know if you guys remember earlier this year, I think it was Nate Shepard grabbed Justin Herbert's ankle and twisted.
Yep.
And I, as a defensive player, I love what Bradley Bozeman did. Yeah. Like, he literally went at Shepard's neck, and I said 100%. Like, that's not part of the game. Like, we don't allow stuff like that in the game. And Bradley Bozeman's first job is to protect that guy. That's the franchise guy.
I saw T.J. Watt do that to Joe Burrow.
I was mad more offensive linemen didn't jump on Nate Shepard.
100%.
Like, my thing is, when you do that to our quarterback, everybody – case in point, when Trevor Lawrence got hit like that, I had no problems with Evan Ingram. I loved what Evan Ingram did.
Fire me up.
Again, he slid late, but anytime you take a shot at the head or neck area of a court, we don't want that in the game.
Yep.
Right? So I love what Evan Ingram did. What I hated was what the head coach said after the game when the young rookie was taken up for his quarterback and got kicked out of the game. He's like, we don't need that. Yes, we do need that. That is the franchise of your team. You protect him. Like, without him, you guys don't win.
Yep.
So, like you said, if we got to put a nest egg together, everybody gives a little bit of money to pay the fine, we do that. But we're sending a message. That guy's off limits. You don't put a head, you don't take a shot at his head.
So we have a fine book in the NFL, as you and I well know.
Oh, yeah.
And I've been, you can get fined for being late for meetings.
Correct.
You get fined for missing blocks. You get fined for the quarterback getting hit. Now, this isn't like the people upstairs taking money out of your pocket.
Yeah.
This is the guys in the O-line room that close the door and they write it on the whiteboard.
For sure.
And there's a list of numbers, and those are the offensive linemen. And they say, this is what you're being fined for this week. This is what you're Instead of pooling that money to go to Vegas at the end of the year,
throw a party
it should be a bailout fund for people that are looking to get redemption. And in the old days, it was, I'm going to get you back. Yeah. It may not be this play, but like you will be looking for me for the entirety of the football game.
Sean Payton bounty case.
Hey, all I'm saying, it's a bailout. I'm not paying anybody I'm not paying anybody to go hurt anybody. But what I'm saying is, if you mess with our guy, we'll take care of you if you get them back. Yeah. And I think I hate to say it, it's part of football.
For sure.